Yeah, actually, it's a great design tool to test our hypotheses and assumptions, but it's also a great communication tool. Teams who are working across the whole value delivery system can really benefit by developing a canvas, using it as a communication tool so that we're calibrated and aligned on assumptions. And I find that it's also helpful when you get into discussions not only within your team, but across the enterprise or even in M&A kinds of discussions. In fact, that's probably the best way to do it. Individually, you might make some initial assumptions, but those assumptions should not only be validated against customer feedback, they should be validated with all of the team members that are part of the organization. Good question. Now, I do believe that the tool is best used when you follow that order, because at the very heart of the matter is, do we have product market fit? All of the other variables are somewhat irrelevant if we don't have product market fit. So determining the value prop and the customer segments and that you have that fit should come first. And then generally speaking, I think the financial and cost structure is the important next step. And then that leads you into thinking about how you structure your whole infrastructure, partners, core activities, context activities, et cetera. First, as I mentioned in the introductory segment, it's really important to recognize that if you're serving multiple segments, you need to really revisit each value proposition for each segment independently, because they're probably going to be a bit different. Second, IP strategy is not explicitly addressed in the canvas. In the area of key resources, we talk about what are your key financial, human, intellectual, and physical resources, but I think for tech companies, we need to do a little bit deeper dive on the intellectual property. Another limitation is that it does not at all address competitive landscape. So what are all the forces external to the firm that will impact us, and making sure that we pay attention to macro environmental and competitive analysis is really key. And then finally, we put a lot of energy in the canvas into the primary research, going out and talking to customers, observing customers, seeing whether they find the value proposition attractive. But even if they find it attractive, that doesn't mean the market is large enough to be viable. So we have to also do our secondary research on market viability. Yeah, there are, and the author of Business Model Generation, Osterwalder, has now created a consulting firm called Strategizer, and there are some online tools that I'm finding a lot of the student teams really find valuable, because they let you do the real-time post-it note assumption and evolution building in your business model canvas, as well as provide you with links to other deeper dive resources as needed. So I recommend Strategizer. If you're interested in a free course on building a startup and using the business model canvas as the primary framework, there's a Udacity course called How to Build a Startup that's free. That works quite well. And then, of course, the YouTube channel has a lot of great resources to get a little bit deeper dive on the canvas and business model generation.